Good morning, everybody. This hearing is called to order, and I want to first recognize that we have a quorum is present, and to my left, we have Councilwoman Parker, Council Member Gauthier, Councilman Jones, and to my right, Councilman Dom. Now, this is a public hearing on public works and public property. The purpose of this hearing is to hear testimony on bill number 200010. Clerk, would you please read the title of the bill, please?
Bill 200010, an ordinance authorizing the Procurement Department on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to enter into one or more agreements with a vendor or vendors for the purchase and servicing of online legal research services, investigative tools, and related goods and services, all under certain terms and conditions.
Thank you. Anyone here for the administration who wishes to testify on these bills, please, come forward. You may state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony. Thank you for being here.
Monique Nesmith, Joiner, Procurement Commissioner. Good morning, Chairman Heenan and members of the Public Property and Public Works Committee. I am Monique Nesmith, Joiner, Commissioner of the Procurement Department, and I'm here to testify in support of Bill number 200010, which authorizes the Procurement Department to enter into a multi-year agreement to access online legal research and investigative databases. Craig Straw and Eugene Su from the Law Department are available to answer questions related to the legal research needs of the city, and Inspector Healy is available to answer questions related to the investigative research needs of the city. Through this ordinance, we will be able to access legal research databases for up to 1,500 users across the city and over 23 city agencies and related entities, including City Council. We will also be able to access investigative databases for up to 660 users in several agencies, including the Police Department and the District Attorney's Office. This contract will last 4 years. A multi-year contract is essential to provide the city with competitive prices from database vendors, which would save taxpayer dollars. This bill will permit a contract that provides essential legal and investigative research services so that city employees can perform core job functions. Attorneys in the Law Department and the DA's office will be able to research statutes and case law. Law enforcement officers will be able to investigate the location of alleged perpetrators. The purpose of the contract are fundamental to city government, the interpretation and enforcement of the law. The administration fully supports this bill. I respectfully request the committee's favorable recommendation and a suspension of the rules so as to allow for first reading at the next session of council. I would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Commissioner, for your testimony. I have a few questions. What database or systems are we using now that this new technology would be replacing?
So there is a current contract for Westlaw as the current vendor, and I believe we have both investigative and the legal research services through both. Is that correct? Yes.
And the new system, do you have an agreement with a vendor?
Not yet.
Has it been put out to bid?
It has been put out to bid, yes, and we do have an intent to award.
And the new database will be replacing Westlaw, or?
It will, yes. It's up for a new contract. So we went through an RFP process, a best value process to arrive at the best vendors.
Okay, and why is it so, if you could explain why a $5 million estimate for a new vendor? Is it because each person has to have a license, each user?
Yes, each user has to have a license, yes, to utilize each system.
Okay. Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
I just want to congratulate you on your position.
Thank you.
How long have you been there? I'm scared to ask.
Just a year.
All right, well, it's good to meet you.
Yes,
We look
thank you.
forward to you in the budget process, and you come in succession of a great line of procurement professionals, so welcome to the fray.
Thank you.
All right?
Chair recognizes that we are joined by Councilman O, and now recognizes Councilwoman Gautier.
Hi, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Can you expound on if this new contract would provide any new tools?
Does it, can you explain, please? Thank you.
Craig Straw, First Deputy City Solicitor from the Law Department. When we solicited bids, we were looking for whatever additional services, maybe increased search capabilities, greater database access, and additional sort of investigative search tools. So it is partially based on what is the responses to the RFPs that we submitted.
Okay.
Does anyone on this committee have any further questions? Is there anybody else? Oh, yes, Councilwoman.
Can you talk about the targets for MWDBE that the current vendor has been reaching, and if they've been meeting those targets?
I actually am not aware of the current target. I do know that through the RFP process for the new contract, targets were set, and one of the vendors, I don't want to name them, one of the vendors met that target for MWDSBE participation. So they received the highest score through the best value process, and that there are additional vendors that applied also, they did not fully meet the target, but there was participation from the other vendors as well.
But no one can answer how we've been faring with the current vendor?
Please state your name again for the record.
My name is Eugene Su. I'm an assistant city solicitor at the Law Department. My understanding is that the current contract is under best and good faith efforts.
That's still not,
That's not the nature of
yeah, even under best value, I'm assuming that each vendor would be reaching for participation goals. So I'm just asking how we've been faring with the current vendor partner.
So we can get that information to you. We can ascertain that from our OEO. I don't believe the current contract was not done through a best value process. The contract that we are requesting to put in place was through our best value process, and our goals were met. But I can get that information to you.
Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Commissioner, if I may, could you just explain best value? And,
Sure.
And how it's structured to, different point system, including, minority participation before it goes out to bid.
Okay, so best value is a non-competitively bid process that requires often an RFI, and if the city doesn't know exactly what it is that we want, if we don't know what is out in the marketplace, then we'll issue an RFI. The RFI will support us in developing the RFP. The RFP is issued, it's typically put out for about 30 days. We also develop a selection committee. The selection committee is an odd number of people from multiple departments that have a stake in whatever the product, good, or services that we are soliciting proposals for. There is a rubric that we establish. Best value is scored based on technical. It is more heavily weighted than price. Initially, the evaluators, the selection committee reviews whatever the proposals are that come in, and they are, again, scoring based on the rubric that's established. The rubric is also included in the RFP so that any vendors that are interested in responding know upfront what the evaluation components will be that they can meet. We include a participation goal for MWDSBE. We also include local impact as well. Those components are specifically scored by OEO. So in addition to the technical that is scored initially, the selection committee, they meet as many times as they need to arrive at a final technical score. After that technical score is established, they then are provided with the cost proposal. They review that, and we can go for best and final offers from the highest, maybe 2 to 3 vendors, to see if we can negotiate pricing. Once those final best and final offers come into us, then the selection committee is able to then evaluate price and provide a scoring for price as well.
The chair recognizes Councilman Dom.
Thank you, Chairmember Heenan, and good morning, Commissioner.
Good
Just a
morning.
quick comment. I just want to make sure whatever system we select, that we have made sure they had references that it's been utilized in other municipalities anywhere in the United States successfully, and you just make sure that it's a positive
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
And Mr. Chair, member, I'd like to be recorded as aye on this bill. I have some council business I have to leave, but I'd like to be recorded as aye on this particular bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Council. Chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Very quickly, on your rubric of consideration,
Yeah.
it includes best value, meaning if I have a operation that employs 25 people in North Philadelphia, that is a consideration in your rubric?
Yes, local impact, yes, is a consideration,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chair recognizes Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to you. I wanted to just quickly take this opportunity to thank our administration and to thank Chairman Heenan, who was the lead in this body in strongly advocating that we move to the best value approach. And in essence, wanted to follow up on Councilwoman Gautier's question. And Councilwoman, you helped me here if I want to make sure that my context is correct. The current vendor was not selected via the best value process.
That's correct.
And so, and I just want to make sure that I'm correct. So, Councilwoman, you're saying you wanted to know how we fared with MWBEs with the old sort of lowest price or lowest bidder compared to the people, the firms who responded under the best value criteria. No, I think that's extremely important and for this body to know, because it will affirm when we were moving forward with best value, one of the arguments was that it would provide an opportunity to add value from a scoring perspective to those firms who had a high number of MWBE participation, who employed a certain number of Philadelphians. I mean, everything other than a price that would usually give the larger firms a heads up over the smaller firms who were also adding value in the city of Philadelphia. So that's a very good question. I too, Councilwoman, would like to know the answer to that question. Again, just want to affirm the administration and Chairman Heenan's advocacy for best value, because I think it was better for Philadelphia.
Thank you, Councilwoman, and I think that is extremely important, at least for members of our council, and in particular this committee, knowing, how we have evolved into better practices in our procurement, opening up more opportunities for local and WBE and BE vendors in all our contracts. So maybe that's something that we could, put a little working group together, offline, and see how things have changed and evolved for the betterment and policies that this council has set forth, working with the administration. So thank you for making that point public. Any other questions from this committee for the commissioner? Anyone else here today wishes to testify on bill number 200010? That being none, thank you so much for your testimony. That being none, we will now move to our public meeting, and the chair recognizes Councilman Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that bill number 200010 be moved from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to add this to our next session of council.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Second. It's been moved and properly seconded. Anybody, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. That bill number 200010 will be moved out of this committee with a favorable recommendation. Further move that the rules of council be suspended as to permit the first reading of this bill at our next session of council. Thank you so much. This concludes the hearing of Public Property and Public Works.